My name is Anna. I live in a small town near the city. I work in a bookstore and I love my job because I like reading and talking about books. The bookstore is quiet and most people there are kind. I usually finish work at 8 in the evening, but that night was different. My boss asked me to stay late to help with new boxes of books that arrived that afternoon. I said yes because I needed the extra money. I didn't know that night would change everything for me. I worked until very late. When I looked at the clock, it was 11:30. I was tired and wanted to go home. The last bus left at 11:45. I quickly took my bag, turned off the lights, and closed the door of the shop. The street was empty and quiet. The shops were closed, and only the sound of my footsteps broke the silence. The air was cold, and I could see my breath. I started walking fast to the bus stop. I looked at my watch and thought I could still make it. When I arrived, there was no one there. The bus stop looked lonely under the yellow light of the street lamp. I waited a few minutes, but the bus didn't come. I looked down the street, hoping to see the bus lights in the distance, but there was nothing. The town was asleep. I started to feel nervous because if I missed the bus, I would have to walk home. My house was 6 kilometers away, and I didn't want to walk alone at night. After about 5 minutes, I saw a man walking toward me. He was tall and thin, and he wore a long brown coat and a black hat. He looked a bit strange, but he smiled when he came closer. "Good evening," he said. His voice was calm and low. "Good evening," I answered. "Are you waiting for the bus?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "It's late tonight." He looked at his watch and then at me. "No more buses after midnight," he said. "But it's only 11:55, I answered quickly. He smiled again, showing his teeth. "Your watch is slow," he said softly. I looked at my phone to check the time, but there was no signal and the screen didn't show the correct time. I started to feel confused. What should I do? I asked. "You can walk home," he said. "It's not far." "It's too far for me," I said. He nodded slowly and then said, "There is another way. You can take a shortcut through the old park. It will be faster." I looked at him and felt a little afraid. Everyone in town knew that the old park was strange at night. People said they heard noises there and saw shadows that moved between the trees. But I was tired and cold and I wanted to go home. "Thank you," I said. He smiled again and whispered, "Be careful." When I looked back, he was gone. I didn't see where he went. The street was empty again. I walked to the park. The gate was open even though it was usually locked at night. I hesitated for a moment, but then I went inside. The park was dark, and the wind moved through the trees, making a whispering sound. The road was narrow and covered with dry leaves. I turned on my phone flashlight, but after a few minutes the battery died. Everything became dark again. Continued walking. I could hear my steps on the ground and the sound of the leaves moving in the wind. Then I thought I heard something behind me. I stopped, but the sound stopped too. I turned around, but there was nothing. I told myself it was just my imagination. I walked faster. My heart started to beat a little faster too. After some minutes, I saw a light between the trees. It looked like a lantern. I felt relieved and walked toward it. When I got closer, I saw the man from the bus stop. He was holding the lantern and standing in the middle of the path. Oh, it's you again, I said, trying to smile. You scared me. He didn't answer at first. Then he said quietly, You are on the wrong path. His voice was different now, lower and sad. I felt a cold shiver down my back. What do you mean? He asked. You told me to come this way. He didn't move. Not this path, he said. Look down. I looked at the ground and I saw holes in the dirt. They looked like old graves. My hands started to shake. When I looked up again, the man was gone. The light from the lantern disappeared. I was alone in the dark. I started to run. The trees looked closer now, their branches like arms reaching for me. I heard a whisper in the wind. Sounded like someone calling my name. Anna! Anna! I stopped and turned around, but there was no one. The sound came again, closer this time. Who's there? Shouted. My voice echoed in the darkness. I began to walk again, faster this time. Then I saw a light in the distance. It looked like a street light. Maybe it was the exit. I ran toward it. The ground was uneven, and suddenly I fell. My knee hit something hard. I looked down and saw an old metal sign. It was a bus stop sign. It said Route 23. That was my bus route. But how was there a bus stop inside the park? Then I heard the sound of a bus engine. I looked up and saw bright lights through the trees. The bus stopped in front of me, and the doors opened with a hiss. I felt confused but also happy. Finally, a bus. I stepped inside. The driver was the same man. He smiled and said, You found the bus. I stood still. Where does this bus go? I asked. Home, he answered. I walked to a seat and sat down. The bus was old and smelled like rain. There were other people sitting inside, but they were very quiet. Some looked at me, others looked out the window. Their faces were pale and serious. The bus started to move. I looked outside, but the park didn't end. The bus didn't go to the street. It went deeper into the park. Excuse me, I said. This is not the way. The driver didn't answer. I stood up and walked to him. Sir, please stop the bus. He looked at me through the mirror. His eyes were black and empty. We don't stop, he said. I looked around and suddenly all the passengers were gone. I was alone. My heart was beating fast. I shouted, Stop the bus! The driver turned his head slowly and smiled. You missed the last bus, remember? I tried to open the door, but it was locked. The windows turned dark, and I could see my reflection in them. Behind me, I saw the man standing again. He was whispering, You shouldn't have come here. Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes, the sun was rising. I was lying on the ground near the gate of the park. My clothes were dirty, and my phone was next to me. The gate was locked again. I stood up slowly and walked home. My body hurt. When I arrived home, my mother opened the door and looked at me with surprise. Anna, where were you? I called you all night, she said. I missed the bus, I answered. She looked confused. That's strange. The bus driver said he saw you get on the last bus last night. Froze. What? I asked. Yes, she said. He said you were the last passenger. But the bus disappeared. No one ever found it. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the man, the bus, and the park. The next evening I passed by the same bus stop again. The street light was broken. The air was cold and quiet. I looked down the road and for a second I saw it, the same bus, the same lights, the same driver. Then it was gone. Now, every night when I finish work I make sure I go home early. I never wait for the last bus again.